Part 71. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 702. At the early hours of August 8, 2135, the number of players in Taeju was decreasing, and the game was gradually becoming empty. Log off, Midnight Snack, Huang Mao called Yang Tian, Xiao Fei, and others. You guys go. Yang Tian shook his head and refused. Everyone ignored him and logged off in groups of 3 or 5. It took Yang Tian a few hours to fly around the Xianyuan Empire, and his thoughts that had long drifted away gradually solidified. Taeju Upper Realm, Taeju Battlefield. The Taeju battlefield had long been deserted, because the energy of Taeju was exhausted and no longer refreshed, but there were monsters and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Players are role-playing, NPCs are also role-playing, but monsters are not role-playing, but life created by Taeju. Yang Tian summoned the god's clone. Tunchan's domineering power is not convenient to use in reality, Yang Tian suddenly said. Yeah, the god's clone nodded, and the two of them were connected in spirit consciousness. Of course, he knew what himself meant. In the game, there is the so-called friendly judgment, but there is no such thing in reality. If the heaven-swallowing domineering aura is used in reality, it is too easy to harm innocent people. At least on Earth, Yang Tian, including his god clone, will never use heaven-swallowing domineering aura. Now that Taeju is about to be shut down, it is the last chance. Without further ado, Yang Tian and his god clone came to the center of the Taeju battlefield, one in front and one behind, back to back. Heaven-swallowing domineering aura. Two gluttonous beasts suddenly appeared, opened their bloody mouths at the same time, and roared deafeningly, penetrating the entire Taeju upper realm. Dark clouds covered the sky, thunder dragons rolled, and the earth cracked. Endless adverse winds rolled out, sending everything in the entire upper realm to the two gluttonous mouths. The dark clouds retreated, and the sun shone. The two gluttonous beasts stood back to back in the sky, one in front and one behind, and all they could see were blue sky and white clouds. The battlefield of Taeju, the realm of gods, the realm of angels, the realm of demons, the entire upper realm of Taeju was swallowed up by two gluttons, and it was completely gone. At this point, the upper realm of Taeju no longer exists, and because of the exhaustion of Taeju energy, it will not be refreshed. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen before Taeju was shut down? By swallowing the entire upper realm of Taeju, Yang Tian and his divine clone each gained a lot of energy, and their physical bodies were further strengthened. At this time, Yang Tian had a feeling that his physical strength was now no less than divine power. It was extremely incredible that a mere fragile mage could reach this level. Yang Tian himself was like this, and his divine clone was no less inferior. At 6 o'clock in the morning. World broadcast. Dear players, it is an honor that Taeju can accompany you to the last moment. But there is no feast that will last forever. Taeju will run out of energy and will eventually shut down. Afterwards, everyone will awaken their power in reality. Please use it well to fight against the Zerg. Goodbye. As the world broadcast sounded, Yang Tian felt stunned by an uncontrollable force. When he woke up again, he was already in reality. As for the divine clone, it was collected into his sea of consciousness. All people awaken. Yang Tian had already become an awakener, needless to say. At this moment, except for him, all the players of Taeju in reality were awakened. The world is different now, from the civilized world, quietly stepping into the trajectory of the supernatural world. The human heart is unpredictable. Not everyone can stick to their original intentions. Some people, after gaining power, their desires will also expand. Lily, you bitch. I have liked you for many years in vain, but you don't say a word and stick to a pretty boy. Well, since I can't get your heart, I will get your body first. Don't. Wow, ha ha ha, shout, you shout, call the police. Solo bank copy, whoever blocks me, die. The world has changed drastically. Some ordinary people suddenly got power, their desires ran wild, their faces were ugly, and their hideous appearance was revealed. People are no longer human, but beasts of desire. And there are many such people, all over the world. Warning to some bastards, I am Harry from the Awakener Alliance, responsible for governing the city. If you think you can do whatever you want with your power, you will pay the price with your life. The world government is naturally well aware of the ugliness of human nature, and has long expected such a thing to happen, and has been prepared for it. The world government and the governments of various countries have sent a large number of alliance troops to guard various cities and maintain social order. However, the thugs were unmoved and fought with the alliance troops. The alliance troops are all official awakeners, the army of justice, and were once the elites of the Tegzu Awakening server. The Tegzu Awakening server has fewer total resources, but rich per capita resources, so the average level of awakeners is extremely high, and each one is very strong. The Tegzu official server has uneven per capita strength, the weak are very weak, and the strong are very strong. The reason why the thugs are thugs is that they think highly of themselves and their strength is indeed very strong. In the fight, both sides have their wins and losses. If the allied army wins and the thugs die, the order of the city will be stable. If the allied army dies and the thugs win, the city will become a city of crime. This is a comprehensive reform of the world. If justice suppresses or even defeats evil, the world will be stable again. But the pain period during this period is inevitable. Yang Tian's mind moved, and a domineering divine power with rolling sound effects instantly covered the city where he was. Everyone in the city was trembling. Some thugs who were determined to do evil were frightened and sweating, they felt that their every move was being watched by a supreme being, and they were flustered and dared not act rashly. People like Yang Tian Huangmao can suppress evil in an instant and stabilize the order of a city. But how big is the city, and how big is the earth? Moreover, suppression is only a temporary solution. If Yang Tian was in City A, he would suppress the riots in City A and City B. If Yang Tian went to City B, he would suppress the riots in City B and City A. Innovation cannot be achieved overnight, it takes time. At the same time, insect domain, Zhuwang star. This Zhuwang star is also an insect star, but for the entire insect race, this Zhuwang star is also a very special planet. The Zhuwang star is extremely large, more than 100 times larger than the Earth. On the Zhuwang star, there are space wormholes like black holes everywhere. As mentioned above, space wormholes are two-way portals, which can be used to cross space. Those space wormholes are all the doors for the Zerg to invade other planets. The corresponding other door is spread across many life planets in the Zerg domain. The Zerg can sense the strength of the corresponding planet through the space wormhole. At this time, there was a large group of Zerg on the Zhuwang star, and they focused their attention on a certain space wormhole at the same time, and then the army invaded. The next moment, Earth, the great desert of ancient Egypt. Bang! The largest pyramid suddenly exploded, and a large number of Zergs poured out in an instant. At the same time, the pyramid exploded, and a black hole-like space wormhole inside was exposed to the air. The space wormhole was roughly elliptical and more than 100 feet long. At this time, countless insect beasts and insect people continued to fly out of the black hole. For a time, the Zerg army invaded the Earth, and the stench was overwhelming. What's going on with this planet? How come a large number of powerful life forms suddenly appeared? There must be treasures on this planet. Above the sky, more than a dozen insect men with terrifying auras laughed wildly. Below, all the insect men and insect beasts looked at them with fear and dread. Insect beasts are at most god level, that is, first level wild beasts, and it is normal to fear insect men. But why do insect men fear insect men? This is because insect men are divided into high, medium, and low. Low-level insect men are second-level wild beasts. Intermediate insect men are third-level wild beasts. High-level insect men are fourth-level wild beasts. Above the sky, the dozen insect men with terrifying auras are at least intermediate insect men. Treasures, here I come, a wild roar fell, and a red-bodied insect man with fire on his body broke through the air. Red insect, don't forget, even if you find a treasure, you have to give it to General Deep Blue, a companion scolded. But the figure of the red worm had already disappeared, and it was unknown whether it heard the scolding and warning of its companions. The world government, fearing the invasion of the Zerg army, awakened the whole people to fight against the Zerg and protect the earth. Little did they know that it was because of the awakening of the whole people that the breath of the earth instantly became stronger, which attracted the Zerg army. In Yangtian's previous life, Tegzu was shut down and the whole people awakened. At the same time, the Zerg army invaded the earth. Today, it is the same. There is a cycle of cause and effect in the world, and there must be an effect for every cause. Many things that seem accidental actually reveal a hint of inevitability. Online game chapter, End. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 703. The sky and earth are dark yellow, and the universe is vast and wild. 9 mountains and 8 seas make up one world. 1,000 worlds make up a small thousand world. 1,000 small worlds make up a middle thousand world. 1,000 middle worlds make up a great thousand world. One universe is the so-called great thousand 3,000 worlds. The great thousand world is full of wonders, and there are many small worlds in it, including the civilized world, the technological world, the high martial arts world, and the world of nothingness. The universe is divided into 10 domains, namely the Sun domain, Dragon domain, and Bird domain, the Tao-seeking domain, the 4 dead domains of Wind, Fire, Ice, and Thunder, the Chaos domain, and the Insect domain. The Sun domain governs the universe, that is, the billions of suns in the 10 domains. The Lord of the Sun domain, Yang Wang, is the strongest person in the 10 domains of the universe. The division of the universe realm. The God realm, can cross the void as if walking on flat ground. In the God UN realm, even if the body dies, the God UN is not destroyed. If the God UN can take over the body of others in a short period of time, it can also be reborn. The person who is taken over will die. Divine King realm, cultivate to become a divine king. Void transformation realm, cultivate to be all-pervading, and only those who are above void transformation realm can harm its body. Dao realm. Dao is good and evil, civilization, technology, high martial arts, nothingness, and all living beings. It is everything. Dao is the rule, the truth, and the master. He is the master of the universe and the master of the world. In a single thought, the world can prosper. In a single thought, the world can be destroyed. The strongest person in the universe, King Yang, has a cultivation that is all-pervading, and is at the peak of void transformation realm. He still wants to go one step further. He wants to refine all the suns in the world. Achieve Dao realm, achieve the master of the universe. Let alone whether he is a wise ruler, whether he can save the world from suffering and hunger as a Dao, and whether he can make the world prosperous. Just his desire to refine all the suns in the world is an extremely dirty act. If there is no sun in the world, what is the world? Upon hearing this news, Feng Xian, the strongest person in the bird domain, and his close friend Long Do arrived, and the two of them joined forces to fight to the death with King Yang. King Yang, you idiot! You actually want to refine all the suns in the world. Do you know what the consequences will be? Feng Xian stared at King Yang with a furious look, and her long red hair moved without wind. Stupid bird, what consequences can there be? If I succeed, I will achieve the realm of Taoism. I can have as many sons as I want, King Yang said disdainfully. Asshole. You want all the creatures in the universe to share the consequences of your own affairs, Long Do also cursed angrily. Don't whine, if you want to stop me, you must first weigh your own strength. At the same time, facing the furious Feng Xian and Long Do, King Yang always remained calm and showed the demeanor of a strong man. In his opinion, all the truths in the world must be spoken with strength. I have strength, and I am the truth. If you don't have strength, you can only watch. If you want to challenge me, you will only die. Go. Hearing this, Feng Xian Longdu didn't waste any more words and attacked King Yang together. Humph! King Yang snorted angrily. Stupid bird, why do I call you stupid bird? Because you don't know the current situation. You are gifted. You have only practiced for more than 30 years and have reached the 7th level of the Void Transformation Realm. I am willing to admit that your talent is the best in the world. You are unprecedented and will never be surpassed. But, you don't know the current situation. You challenge me when your cultivation is not as good as mine. This is stupid. Stupid, you deserve to die. While King Yang laughed wildly, golden flames as hot as the sun surged around his body. With a palm strike, King Yang knocked Longdu away from the air. Blood gushed out. The extremely powerful divine body was like porcelain, covered with cracks, and the breath of life weakened instantly. He Longdu, the 8th level of the Void Transformation Realm, one of the top powers in the universe, was defeated by King Yang's palm. After just one palm strike, he was so weak that he had lost the ability to fight again. Bang! Yang Wang also struck Feng Xian with another palm strike, sending her flying and severely injuring her. His attack on Feng Xian was even more severe and ruthless than that on Long Do. Feng Xian spat out blood and flew backwards, and her body was attacked by blazing golden flames. Explode! Yang Wang uttered a word with the majesty of a master. Feng Xian's body really exploded, and blood and broken flesh flew together. The golden flames dispersed and attacked all the broken flesh of Feng Xian, burning them and refining them into nothingness. Feng Xian's body fell, and even the last strand of hair did not exist. Her soul was also severely injured and extremely weak. Feng Xian's situation was naturally 100 times more miserable than Long Do's. Ha ha, stupid bird. I know you have the blood of the divine phoenix. If you still have a strand of hair, you can rebuild your body. But, I have refined your body into nothingness. You are finished. Yang Wan couldn't stop laughing. Feng Xian. Looking at Feng Xian's miserable appearance, Long Do roared and attacked Yang Wang again regardless of everything. The pressure came, and Yang Wang suddenly appeared in front of Long Do, with a palm wrapped in hot golden flames, stretched out in front of Long Do. Yang Wang's face was indifferent, like a master. If his palm moved slightly, Long Do would fall. Long Do was horrified in an instant, his scalp was numb, and cold sweat ran down. It was as if an invisible hand was pinching his throat. He couldn't say a word, and he didn't even dare to breathe. The gap is too big. It's not even a dimension. Get lost. Compared to Feng Xian, you, Longdu, are simply mediocre. No matter how many millions of years you practice, you can never threaten me in the slightest. I don't even bother to kill you. Yang Wan closed his palm and spoke indifferently. Long Do breathed a sigh of relief as if he had been pardoned. His figure flashed, and he used his divine power to drag Feng Xian's weak soul and fled quickly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 704. Feng Xian, you. Seeing Feng Xian's soul getting weaker and weaker, Long Do looked anxious. The strong in the Shen Yuan realm have already cultivated the Shen Yuan, but the Shen Yuan is only the size of a baby's fist. The Shenhuang realm also has only the Shen Yuan. The Huaxia realm has the Shen soul. But no matter whether it is the Shen Yuan or the Shen soul, once it leaves the body, it will soon die. Unless, take over someone else's body. Longdo, I'm almost dying. Do you know why King Yang is willing to let me go? Because he calculated that I can't take over someone else's body. Even if that person has committed a heinous crime, Feng Xian said weakly. Longdo was stunned, tears flashing in his eyes. His best friend would rather die than take over someone else's body. Don't be sad, I still have a trick of time and space transfer. Although I don't want to take over others' bodies, I don't mind taking over my own body, Feng Xian said weakly. Time and space shift, this is against the laws of heaven. Once it is used, the cultivation will go backwards. Longdo murmured, this was what Feng Xian had told him before, otherwise with his aptitude and cultivation, he would not be able to understand it at all. Of course, it does not mean that Longdo's aptitude is stupid. If it is really stupid, he cannot cultivate to become the strongest person in the universe. It's just that Feng Xian's aptitude is too evil. But, I can survive. Longdo, my dear friend, goodbye, Feng Xian murmured. The so-called time and space are divided into, the past, the present, and the future. Feng Xian wanted to use time and space shift to send her soul to the past time and space, and take over her former self. Time shift. Once it was performed, Feng Xian's soul instantly changed shape, like a windmill, constantly rotating, and finally disappeared. Future time and space. Feng Xian also performed time and space shift for the first time in his life. He thought, he would go to the previous time and space. However, he appeared in the future time and space. Feng Xian's cultivation was so profound that even though he only had a weak soul left, he was still very terrifying. In just a moment, he locked onto his breath and region. Insect domain, why don't I remember ever being in such a remote place? Feng Xian was startled. But time was running out. After performing the time-space shift, he violated the laws of heaven, and his cultivation went backwards and kept regressing. Moreover, he only had a soul left, without a body as a container, and he was getting weaker and weaker. He didn't care to think too much, and arrived at the insect domain at full speed, and finally found the so-called self on a certain insect star in the insect domain. At this time, his breath was getting weaker and weaker, and his cultivation plummeted. And the so-called self was actually black-haired, and had already fallen, and his body was being eaten by disgusting insect beasts. Next to him, there was a yellow-haired body. It was Yang Tian and Huang Mao. It's not the previous time and space, but the future time and space. In this time and space, I, Feng Xian, no longer exist. Feng Xian was startled, looking at Yang Tian's body with complicated eyes. He can take over his own body, but he is unwilling to take over the body of others. Yang Tian, to some extent, is also him, but not him. They are different personalities and souls. He is unwilling to take over. Forget it, you are only at the first level of the divine realm. You don't even have the divine essence, let alone the divine soul. Even if I don't take over the body, you are already dead. Feng Xian comforted herself. In his previous life, Yang Tian was only a first-level god, but according to Feng Xian, he was at the first level of the divine realm. No longer entangled, Feng Xian's divine soul instantly invaded Yang Tian's eyebrows. Yang Tian was at the first level of the divine realm, and now he has fallen. Although he has no divine essence, he still has a remnant soul. If Feng Xian was at his peak, he could easily wipe out that remnant soul and complete the possession. But Feng Xian was already extremely weak, and his cultivation plummeted, he couldn't wipe out that remnant soul. In the end, Feng Xian's divine soul and Yang Tian's remnant soul actually merged together and shared a container. Under normal circumstances, this kind of thing would never happen, but Yang Tian and Feng Xian have a great relationship, and their souls are too compatible, so such a magical scene will appear. Of course, even so, for now, Feng Xian's personality is still dominant. Yang Tian is also lucky. His physical body fell, and the last wisp of residual soul could disappear at any time. But because of Feng Xian's arrival, he was saved. The physical body fell and lost its vitality, so it is not considered a container. The so-called possession is to seize the body of a person. What's the use of seizing a dead person? But Feng Xian is different. He has the blood of the divine phoenix, and he can be reborn from the ashes even if he is a corpse. However, Feng Xian is extremely weak, and his cultivation has plummeted. The progress of rebirth from the ashes is surprisingly slow. This seat, I have to endure the bites of a group of ants. Feng Xian was furious, but helpless. In the end, the container that was finally obtained was once again devoured by a group of insects and beasts. Feng Xian's soul appeared again. Unlike the last time, this time, there was still a trace of Yang Tian's consciousness in his soul. It seems that I can only perform one more time-space shift. Damn it, if I had known this, why would I bring a burden with me? Feng Xian felt helpless, and the burden he was referring to was naturally Yang Tian. Previous time and space. In the insect domain again. After 2 consecutive time-space shifts, Feng Xian's all-powerful cultivation was only a fraction of what it had been, and he was weak and dying. That was him. If he were an ordinary strong man, he would have completely perished long ago. It seems that this time, compared to the last time, is the previous time and space, and the time should be before Yang Tian fell. Feng Xian's soul has merged with a wisp of Yang Tian's consciousness, so he naturally got Yang Tian's memory. Earth, September 2, 2130, Taixu has just been launched for half a month. At this time, Yang Tian has just graduated from college and has not yet got a gaming helmet, and is facing employment pressure. That morning, he was sleeping at home. Yang Tian, now our souls are merged, I am you, and you are me. I take over your body, which is equivalent to taking over my own body, not an outsider. When he was about to die, Feng Xian frantically hinted at himself, and finally gritted his teeth, and his soul invaded Yang Tian's eyebrows. The eyebrows pointed to the sea of consciousness of the palace, which is where the soul is. Although Feng Xian is now weak, Yang Tian is just an ordinary person at the moment. Feng Xian instantly devoured and wiped out Yang Tian's soul, completing the possession. At this moment, Feng Xian breathed a sigh of relief and fell into a long sleep. Soon after, Yang Tian's personality woke up. Huh? I'm still alive. Yang Tian jumped up from the bed and looked at the familiar yet unfamiliar room, with deep doubts in his eyes. What happened? Didn't I break the void a long time ago, fight against the fierce Zerg on behalf of mankind, and then die of exhaustion? How come I am alive now? This place doesn't look like heaven? P.S. This article explains the reason for Yang Tian's rebirth, and then paves the way for the following. This article has 3 chapters: online games, insect domain, and universe. The so-called 3000 worlds are actually the universe. In my imagination, there is more than one universe in the world, but I only write about the universe where Yang Tian is. In the world in the article, the Dao realm is the ceiling, and achieving the Dao realm is the master of the universe, and the same is true for other universes. So there is no need to write about other universes. So, friends who are worried about not seeing the ending can rest assured. PS2, although it is not necessary, I can tell you that the universe where Yang Tian is the 10th universe. In addition, benefits for old readers, your old friend, Yeshen Xiaohei, will be online. Yeshen Xiaohei, who is in the 11th universe, will appear in the 10th universe for some reason. Of course, there are not many scenes, which will not affect the reading experience of new readers. PS3, there are many channels now. Although many platforms are genuine, I still hope that everyone can come to the QQ reading platform. This is the first release channel of this book and a place where popularity gathers. Of course, I don't force you to read on which platform. But at least, please come to QQ reading to post, because I can't see it anywhere else. Later, I will hand draw a rough distribution map of the 10 domains of the universe and post it in the comment area of QQ reading. There is no way, illustrations cannot be used in the text. Interested students can come and have a look. PS4, the prologue is the prologue, and I even published it for free in the form of a thank you. But the next text still starts from the Zerg invasion of the Earth and the end of the world. This prologue can even be understood as a side story. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 705. The 10 realms of the universe, each star realm, have different levels of purity of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The Sun domain is in charge of all the suns in the 10 domains. The Sun domain is a large domain that occupies the front of the universe and has the most abundant aura of heaven and earth. Below it, on the left and right, are the Dragon domain and the Bird domain. These are two small domains, but they are also upper domains. Small domain refers to the small scope of the star domain. The upper domain refers to their strong strength. After all, the spiritual energy of the astrological domains of the Dragon domain and the Bird domain is second only to the Sun domain. Further down, is the realm of seeking the Deo. The Deo seeking domain is also a large domain, and it is the largest star domain among the 10 domains. At the same time, it is also the upper domain. At this point, the Sun domain, the Dragon domain, the Bird domain, and the Seeking domain, these 4 domains already account for more than half of the universe. The Sun realm accounts for about 14%, the Dragon realm accounts for about 7%, the Bird realm accounts for about 6%, and the Seeking Deo realm accounts for about 27%. A total of about 54%. Below the Deo seeking domain are the 4 death domains of wind, fire, ice, and thunder, with 2 domains on the left and right. These 4 domains are very special. There is only endless violent wind in the wind field. There is only endless fire in the fire realm. There is only cold wind and snow in the ice field. There are only sky thunders in the thunder domain. There is no sun, no living planet, and probably no life at all. Except for the strong wind, fire, ice, snow, and thunder, there is nothingness. It is for this reason that these 4 realms are not considered star realms and are called dead realms. 10 domains of the universe. The Sun realm, the Dragon realm, the Bird realm, and the Seeking realm are the 4 upper realms. Wind, fire, ice, and thunder are the 4 realms of death. The mixed realm, the insect realm, is the lower realm. The 4 dead realms perfectly isolate the upper realm from the lower realm. If a being in the lower realm wants to go to the upper realm to seek enlightenment, he must pass through the 4 realms of death. However, only those who are strong in the God-King realm can pass through the 4 death realms. In the realm of gods and gods, a strong person entering the realm of death will easily perish. Of course, those at the peak of the divine origin realm can also go to the dead realm and use the harsh environment of the dead realm to cultivate the body of a God King. At that moment, you will reach the realm of the God King. Of course, it is also very dangerous. The so-called wealth is gained through danger. The 4 dead zones of wind, fire, ice, and thunder each account for about 6%. A total of about 24%. Below it is the mixed realm. In the mixed domain, there are thousands of races. Although it is a lower domain, it is also a large domain. Mixed domains account for about 18%. At the bottom is the insect domain, accounting for about 4%. The 4 major upper domains account for about 54%. The 4 major dead zones account for about 24%. The 2 lower domains, the mixed domain and the insect domain, account for about 22%. The order of the 10 realms, the Sun realm, the Dragon realm, the Bird realm, the Seeking realm, the 4 death realms of wind, fire, ice, and thunder, the Chaos realm, and the Insect realm. This order division is actually also a division of strength. The sizes of the 10 realms, the realm of Seeking the Tao, the realm of Chaos, the realm of the Sun, the realm of Dragons, the realm of Birds, the 4 realms of Death, the realm of Insects. Just as Feng Xian said, the insect territory is really a remote place. In the eyes of the powerful people in the upper realm, all life forms in the insect realm are country bumpkins and ants. The so-called prehistoric universe and the 10 domains of the universe are originally void. Because of the birth of the sun and many living planets within it, it has vitality and aura, and thus life is born. The insect domain is located in the corner of the universe. The life planets born are the smallest and weakest. Relatively speaking, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is also the thinnest and lacking. Therefore, the king of the insect realm is also the strongest person in the insect realm. His cultivation level is only at the peak of the god realm. The lack of resources in the insect realm makes it difficult for him to take another step forward. Among the 10 realms of the universe, the insect realm is the smallest, accounting for only about 4%. But the universe is so huge, 4% is extremely terrifying, and billions of living planets are born. There are hundreds of millions of living planets in the insect domain, and insect stars account for most of them. It can be seen from this that the Zerg race is the master of the insect domain. The king of the insect domain is of course also a Zerg. The Zerg race is the race with the strongest reproductive capacity in the universe. The lives of the Zerg race are countless and difficult to measure. Of course, most of the insect life forms are insect beasts, and the strongest insect beasts are god-level insect beasts and first-order desolate beasts. The other insect beasts are even weaker. Insect beasts, even god-level insect beasts, have extremely low IQs and cannot understand human nature or human language. Above the insect beasts, there are insect people. Insect people have understood human nature, understand human language, and have extremely high IQs that are not inferior to humans. In the entire Zerg force, although the Zerg people are not ants or cannon fodder, their status is not high either. Above the insect people, there are insect generals. Among the Zerg forces, the Zerg general was finally considered a high-level person, and could order the Zerg people and beasts to attack the foreign races. As for the insect generals, they are all at least the 5th level of the divine realm, that is, the 5th level of desolate beasts. Previously, the insect general Deep Blue led the insect army to attack the alien race, but unfortunately was defeated. General Deep Blue and several of his confidants were seriously injured and had no choice but to escape back to Star Ju Wong through the space wormhole. At the same time, by coincidence, they passed through a certain space wormhole and discovered that the vitality of a living planet suddenly became stronger, and that was the Earth. Although the Earth, or the Earth's power, has become stronger, it is still within their crushing range. When something goes wrong, there must be a monster. Maybe a treasure is born. You go and have a look first. General Deep Blue ordered Red Chong and others to go first. He himself, as well as several wounded confidants under his command, still need some time to cultivate. Red Chong and others were ordered to lead the Zerg army to invade the Earth. The so-called Doomsday officially began. The ancient Egyptian desert is next to the space wormhole on Earth. The Zerg army uses this place as a stronghold to fully invade the Earth. Their main purpose is to find the so-called treasures on the Earth, but they also want to occupy the Earth. There are too many Zerg species, and their reproductive capacity is super strong. Zerg often kill each other as they compete for territory. Therefore, for the Zerg, having a stable nest is also a matter of joy. When the Zerg army invaded, ancient Egypt fell first. Fortunately, the Alliance of Awakeners had already withdrawn its headquarters from ancient Egypt, so the losses were not significant. The Earth world is huge. However, the Earth is a world with technological civilization and has just entered the era of supernatural powers. Even if the Earth fully enters the age of supernatural powers in the future, technological civilization will not disappear, but will become more developed with the help of supernatural powers. How is the world of technological civilization different from the ordinary world of high martial arts? The most obvious thing is, the Earth has a network. The Earth is a very large world, and traveling around it takes time. But because of the internet, information spreads extremely fast, almost instantly. The Zerg army invaded and ancient Egypt fell. This news was known to the whole world in an instant because of the internet. The people of Earth are in fear. World Government, Alliance of Awakened, Conferences. Jin Tong, can you stop and defeat them? The leader looked at Jin Tong with a solemn expression. Jin Tong frowned. The Zerg tribe seems not good at hiding their auras. There are several people in the Zerg army whose auras are far better than mine. They are 4th level beings. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 706. If there is only one 4th order Zergman, we can barely deal with it. But, according to my observation, there are 3 4th order Zergmen in the Zerg army Jin Tong's side. Then, we have no way. Several leaders looked at each other, their hearts trembling. Yes, Jin Tong still sat firmly in the chair, his eyes firm. The Zerg army wants to invade the Earth, slaughter the Earth strong, and turn the Earth into their nest. The sooner the better. Having a stable home will make anyone feel comfortable. Squad action can speed up efficiency. As long as they split up, we have the opportunity to defeat them one by one. Of course, our strength is not enough, and we need to summon some powerful awakeners. It is said that the official server of Taeju has produced hundreds of 3rd level gods and 30,000 2nd level gods. This huge force, our alliance only needs to master a small half, is enough to compete with the Zerg army. Jin Tong was detached and talked eloquently, with a sense of planning and commanding the world. It must be said that Jin Tong has the qualifications of a king, and is more like a leader than a leader. After listening to Jin Tong, several leaders were obviously relieved. Contact the masters of the official server of Taeju as soon as possible. This is related to the survival of the Earth and all mankind. At all costs, summon the masters, several leaders shouted loudly. Through last year's World League, they have mastered the official server of Taeju, the information and contact information of many masters. Boom! Suddenly, the earth trembled, and Jin Tong and others swayed in the conference room. But Jin Tong and others quickly used their divine power to stabilize their bodies. On the contrary, several leaders swayed left and right, and some even fell down. Many leaders have naturally played Taeju, but they played it mediocrely. Although they are awakened now, their strength is mediocre. The headquarters of the Awakener Alliance. The world government governs the alliance. Now that the Zerg army has invaded the Earth, for safety reasons, they naturally moved into the headquarters. At this time, a Zerg man descended on the headquarters of the alliance and killed people in the Laotian square. He was about 2 meters tall, red all over, well proportioned and powerful, with sharp fingers and red blades growing out of his wrists, giving people a sense of violence. It was the Red Worm. The Red Worm was one of General Deep Blue's confidants, a high-level worm man. He was not injured when he attacked the alien race before. He is still in peak condition now. The Worm army invaded the Earth, and the Red Worm took the lead, trying to find the so-called treasure on the Earth. He could not sense the existence of the treasure, but he could sense the aura of the strong. He sensed that there were many strong people in the Alliance headquarters, so he came to investigate. He believed that the treasure of the Earth should be in the hands of the strongest person on the Earth. Bang bang bang. The Red Worm was extremely powerful and instantly crushed a large number of Alliance strongmen. Too weak, the treasure must not be on you. The red worm looked disappointed. Swish swish swish, Jintong and others instantly turned into a gust of wind and rushed over. Fourth level worm man, sensing the power of the red worm, Jintong and others were shocked. At the same time, there was a hint of excitement in their hearts. There are only 3 fourth order Zergs in the Zerg army that invaded the Earth this time. Now, there is one who is alone. If we focus our fire to kill him, it will undoubtedly greatly weaken the strength of the Zerg army. Third order space warriors? Yes, you must be the strongest on this planet. The treasure must be on you, Shikhong said happily. Zerg can sense the breath of the corresponding planet through space wormholes. The breath of the planet is naturally emitted by the natives of the planet. Through the breath of the Earth, Shikhong knew that the strongest person on Earth is only a third-order space warrior. In fact, this is exactly the case. Even Yang Tian Huangmao is only a third-order god. Treasure, hearing this, Jintong and others looked at each other. Is there a treasure on Earth? Even the fourth-order Zerg people are jealous. How come we don't know? Don't pretend, Shikhong frowned. As mentioned earlier, when humans reach the realm of gods, the level of life is already different. In other words, it is the awakening of the seventh sense, heart sense. At this time, language is no longer important, and the strong in the god realm can communicate with all things. Because of this, Jintong and others, as well as the red worm, have no obstacles in talking and communicating with each other, although they speak different languages. At the same time, the Zerg army invaded and ancient Egypt fell. Lu Yan. Yang Tian was panicked. In the previous life, Taixu was shut down and the Zerg army invaded the earth. Today, it is still the same. Compared with the curiosity about this coincidence, Yang Tian is more worried about Lu Yan's safety. Although the Alliance headquarters has long been evacuated from ancient Egypt, Lu Yan has always been an agent who has lived in ancient Egypt for a long time and guarded the pyramids. Now that ancient Egypt has fallen, Yang Tian can't help but feel a little flustered, and even lost his previous calmness. There are many kinds of teleportation arrays in Taixu, including private teleportation arrays, guild teleportation arrays, alliance teleportation arrays, and imperial cities. Guild teleportation arrays rely on the guild system. Alliance teleportation arrays rely on the alliance system. Imperial cities rely on the imperial system. In reality, there is no concept of game system. Therefore, in reality, the only thing that works is a private teleportation array. Making a private teleportation array is not a particularly rare ability. You can find relevant NPCs in the game to learn. Yang Tian learned it from Xian Yuan longer. To make a private teleportation array, you also need to make a dedicated teleportation stone. The dedicated teleportation stone is a permanent item and can be used multiple times in reality. Through the dedicated teleportation stone, you can activate the corresponding transfer array and then teleport. The activation time is 5 seconds. During these 5 seconds, you can do anything. Even if you are hacked to death, your body will be teleported to that teleportation array together with the dedicated teleportation stone. It is called a private teleportation array, but if the manufactured teleportation array is large enough, and then the dedicated teleportation stone is mass-produced and wholesaled, it can actually form a public teleportation array. 5 seconds later, Yang Tian's figure flashed and appeared in the great desert of ancient Egypt. At present, Yang Tian has only 3 private teleportation arrays on the earth. One is in the great desert of ancient Egypt, one is in his own home, and one is in his parents' home. The teleportation array at his parents' home was recently arranged. These 3 private teleportation arrays are very small. In the ancient Egyptian desert, a strong stench filled Yang Tian's nose, causing him to frown. He looked up and saw that the desert was full of Zerg, and there were more than a lot of them. Yang Tian couldn't help but be amazed. As his strength increased, the coverage area of Yang Tian's divine sense increased, but it could only cover a few cities at the same time. At home, Yang Tian learned about the invasion of the Zerg army and the fall of ancient Egypt through the internet, but he didn't know the specific situation. Now that he came here in person, he could see it clearly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 707. Yang Tian's Divine Sense Swept. 1 4th Order Insect Man. 3rd Order Insect Man, as many as 5 fingers. 2nd Order Insect Man, more than 10,000. Insect beasts, difficult to measure. Instantly, Yang Tian understood the scale of the Zerg army in front of him. Of course, the Zerg army has completely conquered ancient Egypt and is constantly invading the world. Now the Zerg army in front of Yang Tian is just the remaining troops. All living things in the world have their own unique chi. This kind of chi has different strengths. Ordinary naked eyes cannot see it. Only by releasing divine sense can you see. Chi, in addition to the difference in strength, also has the difference in color. There are countless colors in the world. Red alone, there are fiery red, deep red, pulp red, light red. They are all red, but with slightly different degrees. They are already 2 different colors. Don't you see why the world is colorful, brilliant, and beautiful? It is because there are billions of colors in the world. The color of the breath emitted by each creature will not be exactly the same, there will be some differences. Even Yang Tian Fengxian, although they have the same origin, has a completely different breath. Because Yang Tian Fengxian already has 2 personalities, 2 souls, and of course the breath of life is different. In general, the color of the breath emitted by each creature is, to a certain extent, an identity card that cannot be copied. Lu Yan. Yang Tian's consciousness has covered a large enough area, but he did not find Lu Yan. There are only 2 possibilities. First, Lu Yan died when ancient Egypt fell. Second, Lu Yan had already left ancient Egypt. I hope it's the latter. Yang Tian took out his mobile phone. At this point, he just remembered to call Lu Yan to confirm. Oh, a 3rd level space warrior? What a courage, facing my Zerg army. He actually went alone among the Zerg army's remaining troops. There is also a high-level insect man named the 8-legged iron worm. The 8-legged iron worm has 8 legs since it was born, when it was still a worm beast. Now, he has evolved into a high-level insect man, a 4th level wild beast. In the insect man form, he shook the ground with his 2 feet and had a total of 6 strong arms. Overall, he looked extremely strong. Among the 10 domains of the universe, the insect domain is a remote place with extremely few circulating skills. Skills are the basis of cultivation. Without skills, it is not only difficult to practice, but also difficult to measure the realm of cultivation. One can only judge strength by aura. On Earth, Yang Tian has always been ahead of everyone. When he was a Saint King, his aura was very strong and was mistaken for a strong man in the god realm. But the higher the cultivation, the greater the gap. Now Yang Tian is a 3rd level god, and his aura is far superior to that of ordinary 3rd level gods, but far inferior to that of 4th level gods. And 3rd level gods are originally strong and weak. Therefore, the 8-legged iron worm will conclude that Yang Tian is a 3rd level cosmic warrior. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, including the 8-legged iron worm and 5 intermediate insects, the insect army rushed towards Yang Tian, and the stench was overwhelming. The 8-legged iron worm had the highest cultivation and the fastest speed. In the blink of an eye, it had already rushed in front of Yang Tian and punched out 6 times. Dark Incarnation. Yang Tian's body surface fluctuated and instantly turned into a human-shaped dark matter. The dark matter also held a mobile phone, put it to his ear, and a certain ringing sound came out. The eight-legged iron worm punched through Yang Tian's body with 6 punches, but Yang Tian was not affected at all. In Taixu, there are physical attacks and magic attacks. In reality, they are divided into material attacks, spiritual attacks, and mental attacks, soul attacks. The body and weapons are all considered material attacks. The divine power of the gods is a spiritual attack. In reality, dark matter, liquefaction, and other elementalizations are immune to material attacks. The Zerg are cosmic beasts. Their physical strength is extremely strong, but most Zerg have no spiritual power. As mentioned earlier, not all Zerg have insect pills in their bodies. The insects with insect pills in their bodies all have spiritual power, or even stronger divine power. For example, the red worm has a 4th level insect pill in his body. Not only is his physical strength extremely strong, but he also has vast divine power in his body. For example, the 8-legged iron worm has no insect pill in his body, although his physical strength is extremely strong, surpassing the red worm, he has no divine power. You know that I don't just like you. The mobile phone rings continuously, and Yang Tian is absent-minded. The 8-legged iron worm seems to be insulted. Who am I? I am a high-level insect man, a 4th-level wild beast. Who are you? You are just a 3rd-level cosmic warrior, facing me, you dare to be absent-minded and arrogant. Do you treat me as a human? Hello, Lu Yan's voice suddenly sounded. Ah, connected. Yang Tian's expression was delighted. Connected. The veins on the 8-legged iron worm's face rolled, and he was completely furious. 6 iron fists bombarded Yang Tian continuously like cannonballs. The dark matter was constantly being broken up, but Yang Tian was not affected at all, and the dark matter was reorganized in an instant. What are you doing? I'm telling you, the Zerg army has invaded and ancient Egypt has fallen. The world is in chaos now, hee. Fortunately I had foresight and returned home in advance to protect the city order. I escaped. I'm on my way to your house now, Lu Yan said continuously after the call was connected. Yang Tian breathed a sigh of relief. I didn't do anything. Well, I'm waiting for you in the shower, Yang Tian smiled. Bah, Li Amang. Yang Tian smiled slightly, feeling satisfied and put the phone back into his body. His cold eyes locked onto the 8-legged iron insect again, as well as the Zerg army rushing behind it. In the game, various skills have cooldown times. In reality, there is no such thing. Using skills only consumes energy, the so-called energy is spiritual power or divine power, and can be released continuously. Such a continuous state as Dark Incarnation can be maintained for a long time, and of course it will continue to consume spiritual power or divine power. However, the divine power in Yang Tian's body is vast and endless, and in addition, the heart of the sacred tree is constantly replenishing it. The consumption of maintaining this level of darkness incarnation is not considered consumption at all. During the call, Yang Tian always maintained his dark incarnation, but the divine power in his body was still vast and there was no trace of consumption. In the dark incarnation state, the 8-legged iron insect could not cause any harm to him. In the Zerg army at the rear, there must be a small number of people who have insect pills, spiritual power or divine power in their bodies, but they are not cultivated enough. The 8-legged iron worms have already charged over, and they are still charging. Powerful mountains and forests. The phantom of the white tiger behind him disappeared in an instant, and in an instant, the sky was rising steadily. Under normal conditions, Yang Tian is already far beyond the average 3rd-level god, but with the blessing of Megatron Mountain Forest, his strength has increased more than 10 times. At this moment, his aura was already superior to that of the 8-legged iron insect. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 708. 4th level Cosmic Warrior, you have hidden your strength. The 8-legged iron worm was shocked. Through the battle just now, he already knew that Yang Tian was immune to material attacks. He was stronger than Yang Tian, but he couldn't hurt Yang Tian at all. Now, he just realized that Yang Tian was actually a 4th level cosmic warrior, and stronger than him, plus he was immune to material attacks. How could this be possible? Unconsciously, the 8-legged iron worm was horrified. "Get out!" Yang Tian spit out a word, and instantly turned into a black knight, and swept out with a gun, sweeping the army. A black air wave was seen surging out, with an unshakable force, instantly injuring the 8-legged iron worm and knocking it away. Moreover, wherever the black air wave passed, the Zerg in front kept exploding. Blood and water rushed out in the air like a fountain, full of stench. Facing the vast Zerg army, Yang Tian was fearless and fought hard with his own strength, even occupying an overwhelming advantage. "I thought that in reality, at least on Earth, I would not use the heaven-swallowing domineering chi." Yang Tian smiled in his heart. Through the previous spiritual sense sweep, he knew that there were only vast Zergs nearby, and there was no human at all. Heaven-swallowing domineering chi, devouring living beings, devouring the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and strengthening oneself. This itself has only benefits. It's a pity that the heaven-swallowing domineering chi does not distinguish between friends and enemies, and it is very easy to hurt innocent people. If it is really a gluttonous beast, it doesn't care about innocent people, it will eat when it is hungry. But Yang Tian is a human being, and he needs to stick to his nature, not wanting to cross the line, and not wanting to hurt innocent people. But there are only Zergs here, and there are no other humans except Yang Tian himself, so he will naturally not miss the opportunity to use the heaven-swallowing domineering chi. Heaven-swallowing domineering chi. Roar. Yang Tian instantly turned into a gluttonous beast, and a roar shook the world. In the blink of an eye, the sky was covered by dark clouds, lightning and thunder, the earth cracked, and the Zerg army's bodies trembled wildly and uncontrollably. The endless adverse wind rolled out, as if to send everything in this world to the mouth of the Dowdy. "What kind of monster is that?" the Zerg army was shocked. The Dowdy beast in front of them was 100 times more terrifying than their Zerg. In the endless adverse wind, the space wormhole door that was like a black hole did not move at all, and was not affected at all. The 8-legged iron worm struggled hard to resist and could barely stabilize its body. Of course, he could only stabilize his body and could hardly move. If Yang Tian wanted to kill him at this time, he would have no room for resistance. It's a pity that the Dowdy beast transformed by Yang Tian could not make any other actions while displaying the domineering power of swallowing the sky. So, the 8-legged iron worm, your life is saved. In addition to the space wormhole, the 8-legged iron worm, everything in this world, including the 5 intermediate insect people, was sent to the Dowdy Big Mouth by the wind. It is worth mentioning that the private teleportation array of Yang Tian next to the Dowdy beast also collapsed instantly, transformed into the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and was also sent to the Dowdy Big Mouth by the infinite wind. In his normal state, although Yang Tian is only a 3rd-level god, or a 3rd-level cosmic warrior, he is in the 3rd level of the divine realm. But in the state of shocking the mountains and forests, he has reached the 4th level. The swallowing domineering aura he exerted can barely be resisted by the 8-legged iron worm. As for the intermediate insect people, low-level insect people, and even the vast number of insect beasts, they can't resist it at all. The dark clouds retreated, and the earth rejuvenated. In this area, all the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was drained by the Dowdy beast transformed by Yang Tian. However, the Dowdy beast did not devour the entire earth, but only devoured a very small part. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth was endless, and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in this area was replenished in an instant. The desert in this area was several layers shallower in an instant. Looking around, apart from the gluttonous beast, there was only the 8-legged iron worm. At this time, the 8-legged iron worm was out of its soul and was horrified. This monster swallowed hundreds of millions of compatriots in an instant, which was too terrifying. Even General Shenlan could never do such a thing. Different from the horror, confusion, and fear of the eight-legged iron worm. The gluttonous beast burped with satisfaction, and its body fluctuated, turning into Yang Tian's original body. Bang bang bang. At this time, Yang Tian was not feeling well. The blood vessels and internal organs in his body exploded crazily. The unbearable pain made Yang Tian frown and blood flowed out of his mouth. Not only that, his body was red and extremely hot, and white steam kept rising. The body was even like a balloon, constantly expanding and contracting. There was a sign that he was about to explode. In just a moment, Yang Tian's face was already hideous, and he couldn't help but scream loudly in pain. The energy transformed by swallowing is too terrifying, my body can't bear it. Yang Tian was sweating coldly, and his body was constantly expanding and contracting. This was an extremely cruel torture. Although Yang Tian was determined, he had the idea of committing suicide to get rid of it. In the state of shocking the mountains and forests, his divine power cultivation forced to reach the 4th level. But his physical cultivation was only the 3rd level. With a move of swallowing the sky, he swallowed 5 intermediate insects and a large number of insects and insect beasts. The energy obtained from this digestion was extremely violent and vast, and with his current physical cultivation, he couldn't bear it at all. He was extremely smart, and in a moment, he had figured out the key, but it was too late. No, he's about to explode. The eight-legged iron worm was startled and panicked. At this time, Yang Tian was already disabled, and his eight-legged iron worm could easily kill him, but the eight-legged iron worm did not make a move. First, there was no need. After Yang Tian exploded, he would surely die. Second, it was important for him to escape. Killing Yang Tian now would only speed up Yang Tian's self-destruction. Human, you should be the strongest existence on this planet of life, but you are too stupid to fall into the situation where your body is about to explode. You lunatic, I don't want to die with you. The eight-legged iron worm snorted coldly and sank into the space wormhole at the fastest speed. Boom. The next moment, Yang Tian exploded instantly, and a vast and surging force turned into a shock wave, sweeping wildly around. After the horrible explosion, in the desert, a hemispherical, extremely huge deep pit appeared. On the other side, the headquarters of the Awakener Alliance. Jintong and others have already fought with the Red Worm. There are more than 10 people on Jintong's side, most of whom are 12-winged angels and 12-winged demons, 3rd-level gods. Of course, because of the strength of their bloodline, the 12-winged angels and 12-winged demons are stronger than ordinary 3rd-level gods, but they are far inferior to 4th-level gods. More than a dozen people joined forces to besiege the Red Worm, but they were completely at a disadvantage. The 2 weaker ones were seriously injured and fell to the ground, losing the ability to fight again. My name is Red Worm, I am a high-level worm man. Of course, I am not bragging, even among many high-level worm men, I am the top one. You people are not my opponents at all. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 709. Hand over the treasure, and I will let you die a quick death. The red worm's body surface was covered with substantial flames, and it stared at Jintong and others coldly. Hearing this, Jintong and others were sweating profusely. This red worm kept talking about treasures, but they didn't know what the so-called treasure was at all. Kailin, if you don't take action again, we will all die in battle, Jintong suddenly shouted loudly. Kailin, a voice sounded. Kailin. The red worm quickly fled with Kailin in his arms, and everyone who stayed there had complicated expressions, and Jintong shouted in grief. The wind blew. In the ancient Egyptian desert, there was a hemispherical, extremely huge deep pit, which looked particularly abrupt. At the bottom of the deep pit, some unknown substance was burning, and a ball of red flame appeared. Beside the red flame, there were some objects scattered, most of which were Yang Tian's weapons and equipment. Yang Tian's body fell, and his weapons and equipment exploded. The volume of the red flame gradually grew, and finally condensed into a human form. The flame dissipated, and a body that was intact and full of powerful vitality suddenly appeared. His eyes were closed, but his breathing was smooth, as if he was asleep. The point between his eyebrows was the sea of consciousness in the divine palace, where the soul was located. There was chaos inside the Yangtian divine palace. This was because his cultivation had only reached the divine realm, and his soul was not solid enough, so it was a chaos. Under normal circumstances, when the body of a strong man in the divine realm fell, his soul would also lose consciousness, quickly dissipate, and completely perish. For a strong man in the divine Yuan realm, a baby-sized divine Yuan would condense in the divine palace sea of consciousness. If the body fell, but the divine Yuan did not dissipate, it could escape from the body and take over the body of another person as quickly as possible, and then he could be reborn. For a strong man in the void realm, a complete divine soul would condense in the divine palace sea of consciousness. If the body dies, the spirit will not disperse and can escape from the body and take over the body of others as quickly as possible to be reborn. What is the difference between the spirit and the spirit? The spirit is very weak and lacks attack means outside the body, so the success rate of taking over the body is very low. The spirit is different. Even outside the body, it still has very strong attack means. Not only is the success rate of taking over the body high, but it can also take over the body of a relatively stronger person. After taking over the body and being reborn, it can retain a higher level of divine power as much as possible. In addition, there is another point. If the body dies, the spirit will exist for a very short time, at most 1 hour and 3/4. And the spirit, although the existence time is also very limited, it is much stronger than the spirit. Back to the topic. In the sea of consciousness of Yangtian Palace, the soul was in chaos and lost consciousness. But in his sea of consciousness, there are other things. God's clone. Suan Wuo, Tank Shi, Ben Li Bao, Snow Wolf King Ziobai, 4 battle pets. Xiajin, Dr. Edith, 2 servants. The blood power of the yellow dragon, white tiger, black tortoise, Lich King, suppressing evil stone lion, and Dowdy. Thousands of light cocoons are skill points. And so on. Under normal circumstances, Yang Tian's body falls and his soul loses consciousness. In a few minutes at most, when Yang Tian's soul dissipates, the divine palace collapses, and the god's clone, war servants and war pets will lose their restraints and appear outside. As for the blood power and skill points, these things without real life. They will dissipate at the same time as Yang Tian's soul dissipates. Of course. Although Yang Tian's soul has not yet awakened, Yang Tian's body has now been reborn from the ashes. The divine palace will last forever, and the things inside it will naturally not be able to break free from the restraints. Swoosh. Suddenly, a bright red flame suddenly appeared in the chaos and gradually condensed into a human form. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 710. Who is it? Yang Tian's clone's eyes flashed. Xiaojian, Dr. Edith, Suan Wu and other pets all showed a look of alertness. The red flames dissipated, and Feng Xian's soul awakened. Feng Xian had long red hair and red pupils. Except for the hair color and pupil color, Yang Tian and Feng Xian looked almost exactly the same, both of them were tall and majestic. This Yang Tian is quite interesting. He actually kept a group of ants in the palace. Feng Xian laughed. You know, the souls of ordinary strong men in the realm of gods are chaotic and not solid. If a strong man in the realm of gods is accidentally invaded by the divine essence of a strong man in the realm of divine essence, it is difficult to resist and it is easy to be possessed by others. But in the palace of Yang Tian, there are also clones of gods and several war servants and pets. If the enemy's divine essence invades, they will be beaten up in an instant and may not get the upper hand. You know, the divine essence is only the size of a baby's fist, and there is no other means of attack except soul attack. And Yang Tian's clone, several war servants and pets, although in the sea of consciousness of the divine palace, are all entities. The divine Yuan can do nothing about it. The general divine Yuan may have been beaten to death before it can devour Yang Tian's soul. In other words, Yang Tian's existence greatly reduces the chance of being possessed. Of course, Feng Xian is too picky. Yang Tian's method of protecting the soul and the divine palace is just a side path in Feng Xian's eyes. I am Feng Xian. Although I don't want to admit it, I have the same origin as your master Yang Tian, and now the two souls are even fused together. I am arrogant by nature, and I would rather die than possess others. Not to mention, now that I am alive, I will not possess your master. Speaking of which, your master's life was saved this time, thanks to my bloodline magic. You, just be grateful to me, Feng Xian said proudly. Feng Xian's bloodline is the bloodline of the divine phoenix. Rebirth from the ashes is the bloodline power. But these are all Feng Xians, not Yang Tian's. Yang Tian himself only has 6 kinds of bloodline power. Of course, now Yang Tian and Feng Xian's souls have merged together. Feng Xian is unwilling to take over the body, and will definitely not allow Yang Tian to die. That is why she used the bloodline power to save Yang Tian's life. His eyelashes trembled slightly, and Yang Tian opened his eyes. However, now it is not Yang Tian's personality that controls this container, but Feng Xian's personality. Feng Xian waved her hand casually, and a light cocoon condensed in front of her eyes. The light cocoon was like a mirror, with an image inside. Black hair, black pupils, naked body. Feng Xian manipulated the power and instantly condensed a long red hair and a set of Taoist robes. Except for the black pupils, this is what he looked like before. As for the eye color, it cannot be changed by divine power alone. I have used time and space shifting twice in a row, going against the will of heaven, and my cultivation has plummeted. Before I fell into a deep sleep, my cultivation was only 1/10,000th of what it was. I'm afraid I had fallen out of the divine realm and become a worldly ant. In the past few years, thanks to Yang Tian's soul nourishment, my cultivation has remained consistent with him. Well, the 3rd level of the divine realm, tisk tisk tisk. Feng Xian sighed. Now, his soul is only at the 3rd level of the divine realm. Using Yang Tian's body, he naturally only has the divine power of the 3rd level of the divine realm. But the souls of ordinary divine realm masters are in chaos, but his soul is a divine soul. Time and space shifting, my soul travels to the future. What year is this year? Feng Xian sighed. 1 day later, 1 year later, it's the future. 100 years later, 10,000 years later, it's also the future. But Feng Xian didn't go through these times, but directly traveled through time and space. At the same time, he didn't know how many years later this time and space was compared to the past. Is his best friend Long Do still alive? When I fell, Long Do was seriously injured. I'm afraid no one in the world can stop King Yang's ambition to refine all the suns in the world and achieve the Dao realm. Now, it's already unknown how many years in the future. The world is not destroyed, there are only 2 possibilities. First, King Yang has refined all the suns in the world, has achieved the Dao realm, and has created billions of suns again. Second, he doesn't dare to sprint to the Dao realm at all, and doesn't dare to gamble. It's because he is afraid of my talent and potential that he released the news, lured me to come, and strangled me in the cradle. Feng Xian shook her head and sighed. If it's the second one, King Yang's scheming is more than deep. The third level of the divine realm, the fourth level of the physical body. Yang Tian's body refining magic is really domineering. Although there are twists and turns this time, it's a blessing in disguise pulling his drifting thoughts back to reality. Feng Xian observed his own cultivation, or Yang Tian's cultivation. Previously in the Divine Palace, he saw that Yang Tian possessed 6 kinds of bloodline power. And the so-called bloodline skills, in his mouth, became bloodline supernatural powers. At the beginning, Yang Tian used the heaven-swallowing domineering qi, although his body exploded. But before the explosion, his body also absorbed a considerable part of the surging energy, but at that time, it was still not as good as the fourth level of the divine body. Rebirth from the fire, not only can you revive from the dead, but you can also rebuild your body and strengthen it. The 2 gains made Yang Tian's body cultivation reach the fourth level of the divine body. In the eyes of the real strong, cultivating divine power is the right way. Cultivating the body is just a side path. But that is for the strong in the divine king realm, or even more terrifying strong. After the divine realm and the divine origin realm, there is the divine king realm, which requires physical cultivation. Generally, the peak divine origin realm strongmen can never reach the divine king realm, which is the body of the divine king. Unless your physical cultivation reaches the peak of the divine body, that is, the 20th level of the divine body. To a certain extent, before the divine king realm, physical cultivation is more important than divine power cultivation. Who are you? Suddenly, Yang Tian's soul awakened, and through divine thoughts, he asked Feng Xian. Seeing Yang Tian awaken, Feng Xian's personality took the initiative to withdraw from the ownership of the container. Between his eyes, Yang Tian's personality reoccupied his body. The long red hair instantly turned into black hair. I can read your memory, and you can also read my memory. Why do you ask more? Feng Xian said, and his soul flew out of his body. Although Feng Xian is only at the third level of the divine realm now, he has a soul. The soul can naturally fly out of the body, and it can stay outside the body longer than the spirit. Even if it leaves the body, the soul will not dissipate so easily. Yang Tian nodded. It turns out that the blood of the phoenix in my body is actually your blood. Back then, I fell on the insect star, and you saved me. This time, you saved me again. Yang Tian sighed inexplicably. Feng Xian's memory is very vast. Yang Tian read a small part, but he has understood a lot of things. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 711. Speaking of which, Yang Tian was not unfamiliar with Feng Xian. He had dreamed about him some time ago. Feng Xian's memory was very vast. Yang Tian was dumbfounded after reading only a small part of it. Yang Tian could roughly understand that Feng Xian was actually his previous life. And this Feng Xian was actually one of the most powerful people in the universe, completely different from himself. Don't worry, I am arrogant by nature. Let alone taking over your body, I won't even occupy your body, Feng Xian said. Hearing this, Yang Tian breathed a sigh of relief. If your body is often occupied by others, it would be difficult for anyone to accept it, right? At that time, I was defeated by King Yang, and only a weak soul remained. I used time and space to move against the will of heaven. I wanted to travel through the previous time and space to seize my body, practice again, and come again. I didn't expect that my soul would travel to the future time and space and meet you. At that time, you had already fallen on the insect star, and there was basically no possibility of survival. Otherwise, I would never seize your body. Despite this, my soul was too weak at that time, and I couldn't swallow your soul that had lost consciousness and the ability to resist, and couldn't seize your body. In the end, our souls merged together. Fate plays tricks on me, and I have nothing to say. Just as I don't want to seize your body, I don't want to occupy your body. This is my principle and pride. But, I also have a condition, Feng Xian said continuously. Yang Tian nodded. By reading a small part of Feng Xian's memory, Yang Tian already knew what Feng Xian said above. Yang Tian even knew. At the beginning, his soul merged with Feng Xian's, but Feng Xian was already extremely weak at that time, and the power of the bloodline's supernatural power rebirth from the ashes was greatly weakened. As a result, the progress of rebirth from the ashes could not keep up with the speed of the Zerg's devouring. In the end, the body container was devoured by the Zerg. Feng Xian had no choice but to perform time and space transfer again. So, his soul, which had merged with Feng Xian, traveled through the previous time and space and traveled to a few years ago when Taixu was just launched. Afterwards, his soul and Feng Xian's soul took over the body of the self in that time and space. That was the secret of his rebirth and the whole process. I don't want to take over your body and occupy your body. That's why. Now there are many things that I can't do myself. Then, the burden on my shoulders will be inherited by you, Feng Xian said. Burden? Yang Tian was stunned. Yang Wang is too ambitious. His existence is always a hidden danger to the entire universe. I want you to get rid of him. Feng Xian's eyes were solemn, and he said as a matter of course. Yang Wang is the strongest person in the current universe. Looking at the entire universe, I am afraid that only Feng Xian dares to say that he wants to get rid of Yang Wang casually. His. Yang Tian was stunned and took a breath. I couldn't do this kind of thing at the beginning, let alone you. But don't worry, I will help you. Feng Xian smiled slightly. At this point, the meaning of his existence is just a back spirit of Yang Tian, acting as a mentor to train Yang Tian into a peerless strong man as soon as possible. He has his own difficulties in choosing to let Yang Tian take over. First, it is naturally his principles and pride. He is unwilling to take over Yang Tian's body and occupy Yang Tian's body, so he can't do it himself. Second, Yang Wang has long been familiar with his breath. In this time and space, he must not reveal the secret that he is still alive. Even if he was vicious by nature and devoured Yang Tian's soul to complete the possession. It's okay to be active in the lower domains such as the insect domain and the chaos domain. Once he goes to the upper domain, he will probably be discovered by King Yang in an instant. King Yang naturally knows Feng Xian's character. Last time, King Yang determined that Feng Xian was unwilling to possess others and that Feng Xian would die, so he disdained to wipe out Feng Xian's already weak soul. If, when King Yang found out, Feng Xian was still alive in this world, how could he let her go? Now, in this time and space, only Yang Tian and Long Do know my secret. If Long Do is not dead, Feng Xian said secretly. Unlike war servants and pets, Yang Tian and his divine clone have the same consciousness. Yang Tian knows Feng Xian's secret, and Yang Tian's divine clone naturally knows it too. However, the original body and the divine clone have the same personality, the same soul, and their thinking consciousness is connected. Therefore, Yang Tian and Yang Tian's clone are actually the same person, but they just have two different bodies. Feng Xian can trust Dragon Fight. As for Yang Tian. Now, Yang Tian and Feng Xian's souls are integrated, and their fates are completely tied together, so Feng Xian has nothing to worry about. You haven't practiced the technique yet, so practice my technique. Feng Xian moved her body and tapped Yang Tian's brow without saying anything. In an instant, Yang Tian's soul had another memory, which was a technique. This technique was created by me when I was an adult by observing the changes in the sky, the earth, and all things. Practicing this technique can change the flow of time and cause space to collapse. This is the way of time and space. When you practice it to perfection, you can move time and space and travel through time and space. This technique is called the time and space movement technique. Feng Xian put her hands behind her back and smiled proudly, her face full of arrogance and pride. Yang Tian was dumbfounded. Changing the flow of time and causing space to collapse, isn't this too abnormal? It is acceptable to make the space collapse. Yang Tian swallowing domineering power is similar in nature, swallowing a space, absorbing energy, and strengthening itself. To a certain extent, swallowing domineering power is more domineering than space collapse. But, changing the flow of time. This is too exaggerated and unbelievable. You don't believe it, Feng Xian smiled coldly. When I was at my peak, I could slow down the flow of time in a space by hundreds of times with a wave of my hand. In this space, 1 year of cultivation is equivalent to hundreds of years of cultivation for ordinary people. When my physical body fell, I was only 33 years old, but my cultivation reached the 7th level of the Void Realm. Everyone thinks that I am a natural talent, and I have mastered the ancient and modern. Although this is also true, what is more important is that people don't know that I can change the flow of time. I have been practicing for many years without knowing it. Feng Xian looked proud. Yang Tian was completely shocked. Feng Xian is only 33 years old, why is his memory so vast? That's because, he is 33 years old, which is just the world's understanding. His real age is unknown, he is just an old monster. Slow down the flow of time in a space by hundreds of times, isn't this an invincible method? When you fight against someone, in your eyes, all the enemy's actions slow down by hundreds of times, who else can be your opponent? Yang Tian raised the question in his mind.